The movie kicks off with Jason Bourne, a guy who's been keeping a low profile ever since he blew the lid off the CIA's shady black ops program over a decade ago. He used to be a part of a secret mission called Treadstone, but for a while, he couldn't even remember his own name. Now he's back, trying to survive by getting into underground fights. However, the guilt from all the lives he took still weighs him down. Meanwhile, over in Reykjavik, Iceland, we meet Nikki Parsons. She was also involved in the Treadstone project back in the day, but now she's up to some hacking mischief, breaking into the CIA servers to dig up some dirt. She comes across a shocking discovery, a file mentioning Jason's father, Richard Webb, who was also part of the CIA. Trouble's brewing though, because the CIA's cyber expert, Heather Lee, notices Nikki's hack. Not only does she track her, but she also messes with Nikki's power, plunging her apartment into darkness. Nikki manages to get the important files onto a flash drive and escapes before things get worse. Back at the CIA headquarters, Heather is in a meeting with her boss, Robert Dewey, and Edwin Russell, who heads up National Intelligence. They're talking about Nikki's hack job and how she helped Jason dodge the agency for so long. They decide to hunt her down, and Heather offers to take charge since she's got a history with Nikki's hacking tricks. Jason, still doing his underground fight gigs, notices Nikki in the crowd one day. He quickly finishes the fight and meets her, finding a message from her that tells him to head to the town square, where a protest is going on. This is their plan to shake any CIA agents on their tail. Jason blends into the protest, scanning for Nikki. Meanwhile, Heather's team has tracked Nikki, and Robert has also dispatched his top assassin, known as the Asset, to handle the situation. In the middle of the chaos, Jason finally meets up with Nikki, who tells him she hacked the CIA and found out his father was involved in the founding of the Treadstone program. But their reunion is cut short as CIA agents close in. Jason tells Nikki to split up to confuse the agents. Jason has to shake off his pursuers and comes up with a wild escape plan. He sets a street on fire and hops onto a train. The agents chase after him, but Jason manages to take them down. Just when he thinks he's in the clear, the Asset shows up and things get heated. Jason grabs a police motorbike, picks up Nikki, and they take off, but the Asset is relentless. With Heather guiding him from the CIA office, the Asset tracks them through the protest, which is turned into chaos with Molotov cocktails flying around. He eventually crashes, but then climbs a building to get a clear shot at Jason. The Asset takes the shot, causing Jason and Nikki to fall off the motorbike. Jason tries to save her, but the Asset shoots her, and she dies after giving Jason a key. Devastated, Jason takes the key and later finds the locker Nikki had told him about, where he retrieves a flash drive and notebook filled with her investigation notes. Inside the notebook, Jason finds a code that leads him to an address in Berlin. Meanwhile, Robert meets with Aaron Kalur, the CEO of a tech company called Deep Dream, which makes software used worldwide. Robert tries to convince Aaron to help the CIA by sharing user data, but Aaron refuses, saying it's too risky for his company. After the meeting, Aaron is hit with a legal investigation, clearly a move by Robert to pressure him. Aaron, fed up, plans to expose the CIA's illegal activities during a speech in Las Vegas. On the other hand, Jason follows the lead from Nikki's code and meets a hacker named Christian Dassaw, a guy Nikki had worked with. Christian helps Jason access the files on Nikki's flash drive, but Heather's virus in the files alerts the CIA. Heather sends a team to arrest Jason in Berlin. Christian suggests leaking the files to the public, but Jason has personal reasons for keeping some of it under wraps, so he refuses. He dives deeper into the files and learns more about his father's death in a bombing incident before he joined Treadstone. Things take a turn when Christian tries to steal the flash drive from Jason, leading to a brief fight. Jason knocks him out and goes back to check the files, but Heather manages to hack into his computer and wipes everything out. At the same time, Robert contacts Jason, pretending to negotiate, but it's just a stalling tactic for the CIA team that's closing in. Heather, however, secretly warns Jason that the agents are only 2 minutes away. Jason makes a quick escape, slipping away before they can catch him. Later, Robert, Edwin, and Heather regroup to discuss the mission. Heather argues that Jason shouldn't be killed and proposes bringing him back into the CIA. Edwin seems intrigued by the idea, while Robert, though not fully on board, doesn't argue with Edwin's authority. Jason continues his search for answers about his father's role in Treadstone and reaches out to Malcolm Smith, a former member of the program who was around when Richard Webb was killed. Jason arranges a meeting with Malcolm and prepares to watch from a distance, spotting what looks like a suspicious surveillance van nearby. Jason Bourne, dealing with more chaos, is targeted by the CIA's tech expert Heather and the assassin known as the Asset. They're keeping tabs on Malcolm, using threats against his family to ensure he doesn't reveal secrets. However, the Asset has his own agenda and eliminates his team, following orders from Robert Dewey to create tension between Heather and Jason. Heather grows suspicious when she loses contact with her team, unaware the Asset has gone rogue. Meanwhile, Jason triggers a fire alarm to create chaos, allowing him to meet with Malcolm undetected. On a rooftop, Jason demands answers about his father's death and Treadstone's involvement. Malcolm, under pressure, reveals the truth. Jason's father, Richard Webb, was killed by the CIA, not terrorists, because he opposed Jason being recruited into the shady Treadstone program. Jason realizes he was manipulated by the CIA and is filled with rage, seeking revenge for the lies that led to his father's death. Just as Jason's processing all this, the asset arrives and takes a shot, sending both Jason and Malcolm off the rooftop. Jason grabs onto a cable, managing to survive, but Malcolm isn't so lucky. The asset heads down to confirm they're both dead, but surprise, Jason's still alive and manages to sneak off. Meanwhile, Heather's freaking out. She's lost her team, and now she's lost Jason too. But before she can get her bearings, Jason busts into her car window, demanding she drive. As they speed off, Heather has her own reasons for wanting payback on the asset and Robert. She spills the beans to Jason, telling him about Robert's plan to take out Aaron, the head of Deep Dream, who's about to expose all the CIA's dirty secrets at a conference in Las Vegas. Heather even hands over her phone to keep Jason in the loop with CIA activities. Meanwhile, Robert's already in Vegas, fully committed to stopping Aaron from speaking. Aaron's colleague had given the CIA a heads up about Aaron's plans to expose the Iron Hand program, so Robert's ready to take extreme measures. Jason heads to Vegas, but Heather is worried about a travel ban flagging him at the airport. To help him, she erases his identity from the CIA's database, so he can pass undetected. Meanwhile, the asset is preparing to take out Aaron, sneaking in his sniper gear hidden in a suitcase. But Jason stays ahead of the game. Disguised as staff, he plans to track her on Heather, instructing her to slip it into Robert's pocket. As the event begins, Jason keeps a close watch. When the asset is ready to take a shot, Jason blinds him by aiming the stage lights at the ventilation system. The asset's shot misses, wounding Aaron instead of killing him, causing chaos. In the chaos, the asset escapes, taking down guards along the way. Robert tries to slip away unnoticed, but Jason, tracking him with the device Heather planted, catches up to him. Jason corners Robert, takes out one of his bodyguards, and confronts him about his father's death. Just as things are heating up, one of Robert's bodyguards storms in, but Jason takes him out in no time. Heather arrives at the scene and, without a word, kills Robert herself, leaving Jason to deal with the asset. A wild chase ensues as the asset hijacks a SWAT vehicle, with Jason in hot pursuit. The police are on the asset's tail too, but he recklessly smashes into other cars, causing chaos. The chase leads to a tunnel where Jason and the asset face off in an intense, brutal fight. After a tense struggle, Jason gets the upper hand and finally avenges his father's death. He slips away before the cops can catch up, leaving the defeated asset behind. A few days later, Aaron recovers from his injuries, but chooses to stay silent, despite the media frenzy around him. Meanwhile, Heather meets with Edwin, discussing her potential promotion as the new head of the CIA. It turns out, she had been plotting to gain Edwin's trust to secure the top position. She even hints at bringing Jason back into the agency, but if he refuses, she's ready to take him out for good. In the final moments of the movie, Heather approaches Jason in a park, offering him a chance to rejoin the CIA. Jason walks away, saying he'll think about it. Little does Heather know, Jason had bugged Edwin's car earlier and was already 2 steps ahead. As she returns to her car, she finds a video of her conversation with Edwin, realizing too late that Jason's still watching her every move.